I am Amos Ngahu, founder of Money Gossip and Money Clinic. I'm a financial coach doing almost 19 years now. I'm in this sector that is very sensitive. So my work really is to help people relate better with their finances, make sound decisions, because it's no longer about lack of knowledge, it's about the behavioral side and how we get our money attitudes. You know, we are living in times where there is a lot of diversity in terms of investments. So Saccos sometimes may look like they are outdated, but they remain a very critical part, because you realize some of the people who have low incomes, they have no way of building up a bigger buffer. So they can only relate to an association they understand, and that is why Saccos remain a very big part. And you'll find informal employment, you'll find especially people who are middle income earners. It works as a vehicle for them. So they will want to develop something. They would want to set up one or two savings here. And again, it remains important because it is very easily understood. You know, if you go to the village and try to explain to teachers at the village, and these are older generation on money market, they will think, okay, that's too complex. But if you tell them, we know the officials of this Sacco, we know it is based and backed by employer, then it works very well. So it becomes a partner, especially to a certain demographic of individuals. So you realize that they normally say, is a joke that is normally told, that debts are like small children. The smaller they are, the more noise they make. So you realize that banks, in terms of loan, they are very strict. You'll find digital loans, again, they are predators. They're actually lending in a predatory manner. But in terms of a Sacco, you are going to realize that it can be negotiable. You can actually do extensions. It depends on the relationship you have with the management of the Sacco. So it remains convenient. More or less right now, it is cheaper than banks and digital loans. So you'll find that it has been working with people. And again, if I know I have my savings somewhere, and let's say I saved up and I bought my first plot, so that becomes your lifetime partner. That is where you'll find Saccos, especially for stable employees, they've developed long-term relationships. So it's very hard for you to compare the banks and the digital lenders, comparing to what the Sacco is offering. Well, red flags of Saccos, you see, of course, it's worrying when you see Saccos going under, and mostly it's because of mismanagement. So there are certain things that you need to make an observation. If, for instance, the rates of, let's say, the dividend they give annually, there's so much fluctuations, you'll find it's inconsistent, then that should be a red flag. Again, decision making. For instance, if you have applied for a loan and you qualify, and you find some members are getting loans earlier before others, yet there was a queue, that is a problem. And again, also, how Saccos are operating in terms of digital optimization. So if you still have to walk into your Sacco physically to check on your balance or to do something, there is a problem, because these are Saccos that are remaining behind. Okay? So you have to be aware of, okay, how are they adapting technology? Because that's the future. We have Saccos here in Kenya that have diaspora members. So you expect until that person comes back to the country for them to, that is wrong. And again, you'll also look at the way they conduct their business. Are they implementing even member education day? Okay? Are they having regular and open, let's say, elections? So those are some of the things you need to look at, because that now qualifies makes you qualify the Sacco. Just because the Sacco has many members does not qualify to be a very good Sacco. It has to be a Sacco that is modern, a Sacco that is open, a Sacco that is transparent, okay, and that is consistent in terms of return. So you have to focus on that. I saw they normally have Ushirika Awards. Ushirika Awards is normally awards done to reward Saccos that are performing well. If you go to their page, you will be able to see the performing Saccos. And these are some of the things you need to look at. What is the consistency in the return they are given? They've been awarded, so you will see the top Saccos that have been consistent in the return they are giving. What is the technological, like we said, or optimization of technology? Which SACCOs are leading? Okay, how do they handle member deposits? Okay, those are words that you need to check, because those are the key factors that you can be able to tell, hey, my Sacco has gone digital, my Sacco is up to date, my Sacco is open, my Sacco is transparent. So those are some of the things you need to, I would encourage everybody to just check the Ushirika awards, pick the top Saccos. You'll be surprised, these are Saccos that you don't think are performing well, but in terms of adaptability, they're really doing well. Right now, we can say the government, in terms of the regulatory requirements, most SACCOs are regulated. Most SACCOs qualify. They have been audited. But now it's an extra mile of knowing who's in leadership, okay? Who's guiding us? You know, even when you're working in when many employees are there, do you select someone just because they're popular or because they are reliable? So this is some of the things you need to. Most members don't even go for AGMs. In fact, most SACCOs that have done member education for show up because there's an allowance, but they're not objective. So you'll find elections were done in the morning, but members are showing up at 4 because that's the time the allowance is being discharged. So we need also to take part in these elections to know who is in office. Do they represent our interests? Okay? And again, I'll say this with a pinch of salt. There are so many investments, so even for our audience, they need to be careful. This is not for you, don't even bother. But if you're a member of a Sacco and you've chosen it as a vehicle, you need to be part and parcel of the elections and the entire process of putting on the management, so that now you're able to hold them accountable. The importance of joining a Sacco. I'll tell you what, there's something I call investment with a purpose. Now, I keep telling members, if you joined the Sacco because your colleague is in that Sacco, you will tend to join with the amount they joined in. That means there is no purpose of investment. Before you join a Sacco or any other investments per se, it is not you to say this investment will take me here. Okay? It is you to pick where you want to go, just like the normal way you pick a vehicle. We want to go to Eldoret right now. We have options. We can pick a chopper. There's a helipad up here. We can pick a chopper, get there. We can go and pick a shuttle. If we are runners, we can run to Eldoret. You get their options. But it's up to us to pick vehicle that is affordable and convenient to us. So most members join a Sacco with the bare minimum. I asked for certain Sacco, and I asked before I did the member education day, I wanted to see the member contribution. And guess what? 80% were doing the bare minimum. Are you telling me that they have the same goals? No. They have to work with an investment plan. Let's say I want cash flow, okay? And I also want to build a home for my family. If I purposely say I'm going to take 20% of my income, regardless of the amount, 20%, and commit it for 5 years, with an intention of getting a dividend every year to pay school fees, and also borrowing against the same to build a house. Let's say I want a house worth 4 million. And my Sacco is giving 4 times. I have to focus on raising $1 million bob. So I cannot compare compare myself to people who are joining in and I don't know their goals. So the most important thing is to invest with a purpose. That's the goal I can say is a premium one. Saccos nowadays are changing. You know, we're at an age, you know, I'm at that age where every time you go to social media, they ask you, are you 40 and you're learning to use AI? It's very annoying. So we have to adapt with the times. And this is not just to the members. This is to people managing Saccos. You must adopt to the time. Right now, there's a big threat of digital banks coming up. And they will overtake Saccos because they will take the aspect of Saccos, take the aspects of conventional banking, and give you, boom, the future of banking. Now, adding digital aspect on it. So sometimes the regulatory authorities need also to adjust and say, okay, we cannot be having long approvals for loans. You cannot be taking 2 months for a loan to be approved. With a click of a button, you qualify. All the parameters are there. You're a member. It's clarified. Then you qualify. Because now it beats the purpose of you taking the loan. Let's say you wanted to do something and you missed the opportunity. Why? Because there was a delay in payment. So we must be able to adopt today with the current times. If you're a Sacco and you're still relying on physical signatures instead of having even AI already giving you. You can shortlist members that are consistent and reward them. So we must be able to adopt that, and that's the biggest gap that we have. You have board members of Saccos, you have officials that are very traditional, guys older than myself, who are not embracing technology. We must be able to invest in it. Sometimes faster may not be convenient, okay? And that is why, again, when you're joining a Sacco, because sometimes this is a relationship that we can say does not go wrong, it starts wrong. So if you see members, you're joining a Sacco and the members tell you they take 2 months, then why are you joining that Sacco? For approval. So you must be able to start from the point, from the word go, okay? And it's okay, I've seen Saccos within Saccos. I have seen employers with smaller number of employees that have been adopted into bigger Saccos, okay? So you see now with the guarantee that the employer gives the Sacco, they're able to provide faster loans. But right now, that question is entirely dependent on the management of the Sacco. Any loan, and I want to say this in capital letters, I don't know if I can shout enough. Any loan you take for consumption is a bad loan. We are all, most of the times, bashing the government when it borrows money to pay expenses, to pay salaries. Also tell yourself, if I am borrowing to pay school fees, I've been told in January, there's normally a queue in every Sacco, people getting emergency loans to take their kids to. That's wrong, okay? You'd rather scale down than take a loan for consumption because there's no way of paying it. You will forever be running for debt. But in terms of taking loans for expansions, for business, as long as the rate of interest you're repaying is lower than the profit you're making, the profit, of course, the profit has to be higher, then you're in business. But we must be able to ask ourselves, because the whole idea of debt is to leverage on other people's money. Whatever I could not acquire with my 1,000, if I borrow 1,000 from you, I can actually be able to get more capital and make more return on the investment. So that should be the guideline on this. You will find now with the way that, and I don't know, I wish this policy could be changed, banks are making a kill out of buying the government securities, the bonds and the treasury bills. That tells you, if I want to lend money to an individual, I have a lot of due diligence to do, so I'd rather lend to the government. That is why you'll find most banks, for ordinary Kenyans, they're not giving loans. And that's why now the digital lenders saw the gap, and now they're now predators on our Kenyans. So in the long run, the Sacco remains a convenient ally to ordinary Kenyan who wants to build some capital base. It also gives some sort of discipline to be a regular saver. So we have to see, for ordinary Kenyans, this normally work. And they are working equally now with even chamas. You'll find people who like hawkers, border guys. Now they are being told now to formalize this group so that they can be able to access credit. Even now you'll find sub-Saccos have facilities for such grouping. So it is good to work with a plan. Pick a partner. If a Sacco works for you, then well and good, but you have to use a proper criteria to select the best Sacco for yourself. For instance, you'll find most Saccos have different accounts. Others will tell you you're a regular saver, others will have even platforms for guys who are in business. So if you know, let's say you're in construction and you don't have a deal for the next 2 months, okay, and your money is lying somewhere, call your Sacco, tell them I have a deposit here of like $1 million or 2 million. What can we look at if I put it with you guys for 3 months? Okay, it's just like the call deposits on banks. Sometimes when you have your money is lying there, tell them I want to transfer them to another bank. They will tell you we have something called a call. It's some sort of a fixed deposit, and they'll give you a good rate. So negotiate with these ones, so that if you know they close the books, let's say in December, and by December you have put all your deposits, even for 2 months, tell them they need to give you the ultimate dividend for the entire, because as they closed, that was your deposit. So it's always good to, because whoever has the cash, that's why they say cash is king. You're able to negotiate. As long as if they're giving you a good rate. You see, because when Saccos give you an insurance cover, there are even Saccos telling you, as long as you have a legit title, we can buy for you that land without having to consider your deposits, because the land is a security. So you have to ask ourselves, am I getting below the market rate? Okay? Because now you'll find Saccos have become even agencies. So sometimes you might get a better rate. You might even get offers. You'll find that like now most Saccos now have also an investment side. So you'll find they will get discounts, let's say in buying apartments, in buying land. So you'll find that the market rate is slightly lower than the selling price they're selling to you is lower than the market price. So it's always good to take advantage. Financial mistakes that Sacco members make: don't guarantee anybody loans unless you do your due diligence. And most people think, because this person is my friend, let me sign. If you come to me and we are similar members and you tell me, I need you to sign for me, here's a guarantee, I'll tell you, okay, hold up. Let me have a look at your payslip. I want to check your affordability, because this is basically me taking a loan for you if you don't repay. Okay? Do your due diligence. Check out what is the history of this person in this Sacco. What do they want to do with their money? Look at their affordability. I personally at some point paid for someone because they were my friends. I signed because they are in. Number two, don't just join a Sacco because your friends are there. Join a Sacco because you have a goal and they can help you get there. So you have to be selfish. And then finally, we need to be very careful. People go into Saccos casually. How do you join a Sacco without knowing its history? How do you join a Sacco without even checking the past performance? How do you join a Sacco without checking the officials? Okay, who are the people behind this Sacco? Okay, because those are three factors that people will end up. You find already you are there, but you're just joining the Sacco casually. The other mistake finally is just having savings there and you never have a facility. That is again taking us to investing without a purpose. If I'm joining a Sacco, I need them to take me to 1, 2, 3 destinations. If I need capital, I'll have to borrow. I normally tell people it is good to be in debt, but in good debt. Because if I lend you, if you borrow 1,000 shillings from a bank, that is your problem, because that can land you in CRB negatively. But if you borrow 100 million from a bank, that is the bank's problem. They will take care of you. Have you ever noticed that people with big loans are well taken care of because they know you could actually close your eyes and go at a loss. Okay, so that is why we need to take advantage of these Saccos. It's hard to influence reforms unless it's an AGM and you have a voice and you're influential. The best you can do is negotiate. If you're struggling with debt, they can always help you restructure, set up a new debt. You could also be in a Sacco, you have one debt in a Sacco, but you also have a debt in a bank, you have a debt in a Shylock. It's always good to talk to your Saccos, and that's the other thing. If your officials can be able to help you restructure, remember, any lender giving money to people without education, they become an accomplice. So they must be able to sit down with you as a partner and tell you, listen, you are unable to afford this, okay? We are not here to auction you. We're here to ask you, what's your plan? Every Sacco should be able to do that. And when you go to Shirika Awards, you'll find some of the Saccos that have been awarded. If they are consistently on the top, that means there's something their customer service is doing. There's something their officials are doing. It's about relationships. So anybody struggling, and this is a red flag of a Sacco. If you find it hard to go and talk to your officials, then that's a problem. But if you find a leeway, and I know I've lost a job, people even take leaves from paying loans. So you must be able to address it. Don't be a Kenyan. You know, Kenyans have a habit of switching off their phones and removing the battery. So you have to be able to face your problems, negotiate, and they can be able to help. So let me give you these pointers when you want to grow with a Sacco. They could vary, not in any particular order. Number one, be selfish with your goals. It starts with you. List down the things you want to achieve. Okay? Number two, ask yourself, can a Sacco be able to help me achieve this? Okay? Then number three, you're able to now to have a selection process. Say, for this, I want a quick approval. I want properly managed funds, and which is now leading us to research. Go to Sasara, go to the Ushirika Awards, get to know the top. You have to do your research. Number four, go in with a plan. With your own plan, okay? I will not be sold to by a salesperson. Most of them send salesperson, and most of them will sell for you the minimum. Tell them that I am here. I want to put in 20% of our income, which is XYZ, and start the process. Number four, be careful. Be careful who you guarantee. You have to be selective. You don't go announcing that you're a member of the Sacco, because at the end of the day, you'll also need guarantors. So even as you audit them, you see, if you are auditing me, by the time I'm also telling you to guarantee me, you can tell that we can be able to work together. And that's about it. Let's keep it simple. No, I'd encourage Kenyans, don't be afraid. Sometimes our decision making is affected by either our past, the challenges we've had. Be objective. You must start somewhere. Whether you're a young person, whether you have little income, start something. Start, work with a percentage. Don't just work with an amount, work with a percentage of your income, depending on your season, and don't be afraid of growing. Because at the end of the day, we will move from just counting our money to making our money count.